What up? K Rugs, the sober dog, with Gemma Girl, the other sober dog. Yeah. You know I'm always with the dogs. Doggy kiss. Before I get going, make sure you check out Soberdogs.com. A bunch of great information about addiction and recovery on there. Also a wonderful section about real recovery, real stories from people sharing their addiction, their recovery, what helped, what didn't help, what they went through. You know, it could be very inspirational, motivational. Today's video, we're going to talk about feelings. Now, don't go clicking away yet. I know no one likes to talk about their feelings, especially men. It's, something that can be a big problem in society in general and is a big problem, but especially in recovery. Men have a very hard time talking about their feelings or opening up, talking about their emotions, and I'm definitely one of them. Very hard to open up, ask for help, talk about, being vulnerable, I guess. I did a mini survey with 20 people in recovery. It was 11 men and 9 women, all different ages and ethnicities, and I asked, what is the hardest thing for a woman in recovery and what is the hardest thing for a man in recovery? 18 of the 20 pretty much gave the same answer for men in recovery. Opening up, talking, expressing emotions, sharing feelings, sharing emotions, asking for help, asking another person for help. 18 of the 20 answers were along those lines, and my favorite answer was being vulnerable. And that is so true. All these things are just very hard for men in recovery. Now, why, specifically are these so hard for men in recovery? Well, 3 main factors, I believe are the cause of this. And one is just evolution. For, the couple 100,000 years humans have been on this planet. For 99% of it, men were supposed to be these hunter-gatherers and, go out and get food and work, go to war, whatever, and do what they had to do and kind of be quiet about it, don't complain. So that's, in our evolution. 2, genetics and testosterone. Along with that evolution, it kind of gets built in us, but then testosterone, a lot of men, especially myself, a lot of people I've met, it's this kind of win champion mentality. I don't need to ask for help. I could, lift weights and fix a car and bring the money home. I could beat addiction. I don't need to ask for help. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. But, and then third one and most important and most prevalent is societal norms and expectations. It's kind of this, strong, silent type expectation men are supposed to be, up until basically like the Vietnam War. And even through that war, men were supposed to go off to war and fight and do awful things to other people and see awful things get done to them and their friends and fellow soldiers, and then come home and not talk about it. And it's just this societal expectation. If I share too much of my feelings or my emotions, then I'm looked at as weak or not having it together or too vulnerable or can't handle the pressure, whatever. Barbara Markway, PhD, she's a clinical psychologist, explains, quote, many men are trapped in the confines of a socialization process that tells them it's unmanly to cry, to hurt, or to express the myriad of other emotions we all experience as a result of living fully as human beings. Humans have feelings and emotions, period. Men, women, anybody, everything, we all have them. But like, we were just talking about those societal norms and all that, you're not supposed to say this, not supposed to say that. But if you Google men and feeling, there's 480 million, answers that come up, 480 million results. And almost every single one of them that I read starting out is getting men to open up, men talking about their feelings, men talking about their emotions, cracking the shell with men and emotions. This is huge for recovery, a huge issue, because, most of us are in recovery. Many of us have like either a guilt or shame or, self-esteem issues, trauma, something that's kind of fueling our addiction, anxiety, something. Now, to have a healthy recovery, I got to open up and kind of deal with that, come to terms with it, whatever. So, if I think I'm just going to skip over this trauma I had as a kid or this depression or whatever, and, have a good recovery, it's probably going to end up coming back if I just keep bottling it up. So that's something, we got to get off our chest. I'm not saying, you got to run out there and share to 100 people your deepest, darkest secret, but it's just a fact that, men got to get this stuff off. You got to, share what's going on. I really started to feel my feelings and express them in prison. I was in solitary. I had nothing to do, so I wrote a lot. I had a journal, and I started to write feelings out and see like, wow, like I could express my feelings. I'm writing it. I could put it in describe it very well because I'm writing it. I have all this time. And I also felt safe and secure about doing it because it's my little journal in solitary. No one's going to read it or take it or whatever. So, I think that can be a big help or a big step too, is journaling. These things might, that might be a tip that could help some people. So, more specifically, what can men do to, express their feelings, their emotions more, especially, in recovery or in early sobriety? One, build your support network and use different support for different reasons. If I'm having a relationship problem, there's a certain person I call. He's always good with this, always gives me great advice, and I trust him. That. If I'm having work issues, there's, a couple people that I usually bounce those ideas off, and I could express things to them because they understand it a little bit better. I don't have kids, but, if I was having feelings or emotions with my children, I'd probably bounce that off of another man in recovery who had kids who I trusted. So, use your support different. Use it for whatever you need. 2, therapy if you're comfortable. I was mandated by parole, but ended up being wonderful. I did have to go through 2 different people to get to one I was really comfortable with. But find someone you're comfortable with talking to and talk to them. Maybe it's a woman, maybe it's a man, whatever, and get it out there, and, that those feelings or emotions aren't going to leave that room. 3, meetings. If you do 12-step programs, or if you're open to trying it, I'm a big fan. 12-step programs are great. You could share as much or as little as you want at a meeting. Just listen or share. But then also sponsor. Having a sponsor is, men work with men, women work with women. Somebody you could, talk to about these feelings and emotions and things that you could trust is going to keep them, to themselves, that have probably been through most of them before. Number 4, if you're not in a 12-step program or you don't feel comfortable going, there are regular support groups and therapy groups, different things like that you could find. Just look it up. Find different groups around town, wherever you are. Number 5, sharing online in online groups or support groups. This is a good first step. It keeps your privacy. You could use a different name if you want, but I wouldn't use this as a permanent step, because at some point you want to have face-to-face interaction and express it, but that could definitely be a good first step. 6, as I talked about a little while ago, journaling, writing it down. For some people, myself included, it's easier for me to write stuff out. I don't know, I could explain it better. I feel safer doing it. I don't know, I can't really explain it. It just is what it is. 7, activities, to bond with others. That same Barbara Markway, Dr. from above that I read the quote in explains that sometimes men hide their emotions or mask it as other feelings. So like if we have guilt or shame, we might express it as pride or anger, because we don't want to be seen as being guilty or shameful, or we just don't know how to deal with it, whatever. But doing something physical like maybe a basketball game or hiking or something can help get some of that stress out and calm some of the feelings, so that having a little talk or something afterwards probably be easier. Number 8, dial. My first sponsor in recovery had me get a phone number a day for 30 days, and he wanted me to call one person or two a day for 30 days in recovery. And if I called one and they didn't answer, I had to call another until I got two that answered. Now, all I was doing is calling them saying, hi, so-and-so, I met you the other day, blah, blah, blah. But he wanted me to practice calling when I, just in general, so that when I did have a bad day or whatever, that I could just, it was like second nature to do it. This helped so much. A couple months later, when that day came where I was struggling, normally I either isolate, bottle it up, or call not the right person, the drug dealer. But I did. I picked up my phone. I called the right, I called two people and the third answered, and he was a guy in recovery, and he talked to me for about 20 minutes, and it worked out great. So whether you're in 12-step program or not, get people's number in recovery and call them. Not only, is it going to help you, but it helps them too. Keep that in the front of their mind. Number 9, meditate. Meditation can be great. Prayer meditation helps you become more focused and, in present moment and stuff. Also working out, like I talked about earlier, it gets that anger, that stress out. A lot easier to, I notice after a workout, I'm a lot more conversational, or I could open up more because I'm just like less stressed. I just got a lot of energy and testosterone out, whatever. Or maybe didn't get it out, but you know what I mean. And the last final tip, small steps. You don't got to run in the middle of the street and share your deepest, darkest secrets to 50 people right now. Just take small steps, little bits at a time. You could share something you normally wouldn't share to somebody you trust and move on from there. If you're working with somebody in recovery, a sponsor, maybe a therapist, maybe you're at an outpatient, build up to, that the big trauma or the big guilt or whatever. It's okay, and something I struggle with every day. It's okay to ask for help. I can't do it alone. None of us are perfect. So, it's okay to ask somebody else for help. That doesn't make me less of a man. Or you any less of a man or woman, anybody, to ask somebody for help. All right. That's my video today. All us men don't cry. Ugh. It's all right. We can get our feelings out. I've cried before. Is what it is. Especially when the doggies have passed away. But make sure you like and subscribe. Help me out, get more content out there. All right, everyone. Thank you for supporting Sober Dogs. Love y'all. You're awesome. See ya.